last week, kind of talking about UConn, and I made the point that they feel like the Patriots during their dynasty, where it's almost like you can ignore the number, or it's like one of the scenarios where if you've been okay paying a premium to back them, you've been cashing tickets left and right. I don't think there's any question that once again they're forcing you to pay an inflated number or an inflated price to back UConn here. That being said, if you've done it all tournament long, you're kind of playing with house money at this point, right? Like they haven't not covered an NCAA tournament game since last year. To me, the number still matters. And as someone that's kind of been on the wrong side of this year, I was all over UConn last year, but this tournament have been on the wrong side of it. I think the spread, I still make it more like 3.5. So if I'm just going off my numbers, that points me to Purdue. But there are reasons, in my opinion, to like Purdue in this matchup. And I really do think you have to just approach it as, it's 0-0 again. Like, yeah, did UConn get there and cover Alabama in the end? Of course they did. But they still needed to hit 5 of their last 6 shots in the final 4 minutes of that game just to cover the number by 2. At least if you got on it earlier in the week at 12, that was the case. Needed to hit, 5 of their final 6 shots. From after Sears hit the 3 from basically the logo to cut it to 8, UConn needed to hit 5 of their last 6 shots, including multiple threes, to win that game by 14, which covered the number by 2. As far as this matchup concerned, I think it's a little bit more of a stalemate. I think Purdue and UConn do a lot of the same things well. I think Edey negates Klingon and vice versa. Klingon is probably one of the few people in the country that can guard Edey straight up. So, I think those two things might cancel out a little bit. They both like to play a similar pace. So to me, if Purdue can play through Edey and then get some open threes and knock down some open threes, I think they're going to have a great chance to hang around in this game. I also think it's worth noting that they really haven't shot the 3 particularly well yet, despite being number 2 in 3-point shooting in the country, 41.1%, and number 3 in offensive efficiency. So I do think there's paths to Purdue hanging in this game, and at +7, and even if this goes to 7.5, it's going to be tough for me to not, have a bet on the Boilermakers tonight.
So I need to understand this, Adam. You said that it's clear that you're laying a premium with UConn. All UConn's done is be an undervalued commodity in this tournament. All they were was an undervalued commodity in the Big East tournament. All they were down the stretch was an undervalued commodity. UConn obviously has covered every point spread in the tournament this year and last year. From the start of March Madness, I've got them at 7-1 ATS. From the end of February, I've got them at 11-1 ATS. I don't understand the concept. How is this team overvalued when all they're doing is coming in under, they're playing better than the markets are telling us that they're supposed to play?
All right, so I guess I'll counter your question with a little bit of a question. And my thing is, like, it's easy in hindsight to say they're undervalued. Okay, like, going back and looking at the full body of work, I guess now we can look and say, okay, well, you've been cashing tickets the entire time with UConn. But in my opinion, like game to game, that doesn't really make them undervalued. I think if you wanted to tell me that they were a little bit undervalued against Northwestern because Northwestern was really banged up and coming off of an overtime game to Florida Atlantic, I could live with that. But I can't really get with like calling UConn undervalued, laying 12.5 to San Diego State, laying almost 10 to Illinois, laying 12 to Alabama. In my opinion, they're just covering premium numbers, which is like, that doesn't make them undervalued. It just means they're finding a way to get there. So if I'm looking at this again, I still think that this number is inflated. Does it mean UConn's not going to like close the game on another really good run and get there? No. But if you go back to the Alabama game, Alabama covered the majority of that game. There was a point in time where they were tied. We knew they were going to have to hit shots to hang around, and they just went a little bit cold at the end, and UConn got there. So I disagree with them being undervalued, but are they cashing tickets? Of course they are, and I think that's kind of the ultimate thing here. Do you want to just lay it with UConn and expect them to find a way, or are you going to take the value with Purdue? Because in my opinion, there's clear value on Purdue.